different background today because it's raining and I thought that this outfit would look cool with this background and there's no sun to come through this window now. So today I want to make a video that I can redirect all to because this is probably one of my most asked questions, and usually it comes from people who are new to my pages or new to Glitter M. So today we are going to be talking about M's own personal Precure timeline, because if you know me and you know my main channel, a lot of people know me for Precure. Like, I kid you not, this is one of the best videos that I've done, and this is like the last video as the time I'm recording this. Like, a lot of people have found me from this video about dancing stars. So today I want to talk about my own personal experience and journey with finding Precure and what it is, because I kid you not, this is the question that I get asked the most because people want to know, because Precure is one of those series that, like, you could start anywhere. You could start on the 21st series, you could start on the 2nd series. You never know. There's so much Precure and anyone can start anywhere because it doesn't matter where you start. It's all gonna be its own separate content unless you go to All Stars, which if you start with All Stars, the movies, why? You can literally jump into any season of Precure. So anyway, let's go ahead and talk about how I got into Precure. So before I get into where I found it and how I started watching, I need to give a couple shout outs to some YouTubers. Specifically Pixie Locks and also Connie Glenn, who was at the time Nudorella. I remember watching these two growing up, and if you can't tell by how I look, I'm very influenced by the two. And so, growing up, I had heard both of these people say the word Precure or Precure, and I had no idea what that was. I just kept hearing them talk about it. Sometimes I would see like items like little tsum tsums or like figures or just like general, like, you know, figures or something. Art maybe, I don't know. I just kind of saw it and I was like, what is a Precure? Because honestly, not too many people say Precure. A lot of people just kind of condense it to Precure. And so I kept hearing the word Precure, 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 and I'm like, what the heck is a Precure? And so I literally had this name floating around in my noggin for a couple of years until finally, I was in high school. I was like 15, 16 years old, and I was on Netflix one day. You probably know where this is going, don't you? You know where this is going if you're in the Precure fandom. I found Glitter Force. Just the first one. Doki Doki was there, but I was like, Glitter Force. I like glitter. This was before I became Glitter M too. Like, at the time, I was still under the name Emo T, which was a reference to a clan stick. Because I'm original. But anyway, I saw Glitter Force and I was like, whoa, magical girls. Because around this time, I had gotten into anime probably when I was like, you know, like 12 years old, 11, 12. But up until like high school, being like 14, that's when I started getting into magical girls. Before that, I just kind of watched whatever was recommended or looked interesting. But 14, that's where the magical girls started. That's where I was like, this is my genre, I like this. And so I had watched Sailor Moon, I'd watched a little bit of Madoka Magica, I'd watched a couple things that kind of had the like magical girl influence, and like cartoons as well. I watched Miraculous Ladybug, Star vs. the Forces of Evil, like, I loved it. Those were the kind of shows that I was looking for. And being on Netflix, looking for some of those shows, I just stumbled upon Glitter Force. And so I had no idea what Glitter Force was. I did not know that it was Precure, nor did I know that it was actually a really bad translated dub of Precure. But anyway, I digress, didn't know anything, and I watched it, and I really liked it. I liked the character designs, I liked the transformations, I liked the end songs. Genuinely, hate me if you must, but Glitter Force had some really good end songs. They were good. I liked them. I vibed to them. Shut up. And so watching Glitter Force, I was like, this is really interesting. I love the characters and their designs, and I wanted more. So I went to Doki Doki, watched Doki Doki, and really loved Doki Doki. So that's when I came to the end of Glitter Force, because there was only 2 seasons of Glitter Force, and now it's not even on Netflix. They took it off. But I was like, hey, this is really good. Let me get into this. So I Google searched Glitter Force. And lo and behold, here comes the word from years past. Precure, Precure, Precure. And it all clicked. It clicked in my head. I was like, oh my god, that's what Precure is. I didn't know. Like, I literally watched these 2 seasons and probably like a month or 2, because I'm not gonna lie, I watched them while I was in school. Yeah, I had a few classes where like you didn't have to do anything, because at my school business classes were just like a waste of time. So like I literally had like a full 5, day, like hour and 30 minutes to just watch anime, because we didn't do anything in those classes. So I literally just sat there and binge watched 1, like The Office, and 2, I binge watched the Glitter Forces. So finally I figured out this was actually Precure. And so learning that it was Precure, I wanted to go back in to specifically Smile, because I'm not gonna lie, I liked Smile more than I like Doki Doki. Just because I like the storytelling. I'm an inspiring author. I like the storytelling, the Disney aspect. And so I was like, this is a good season. I want to rewatch this one and then maybe Doki Doki later. I never watched Doki Doki. I need to. Honestly, I really do need to. It's actually really good. But anyway, I went and I found the sub version of not Glitter Force, but Smile Precure. Watched it and I was like, oh my god. It's a completely different experience. And that's the thing about Glitter Force. I've talked about it before, but Glitter Force as a premise could have been done much better in my opinion, considering they cut out a lot of cultural aspects, like the festival scene. They basically tried to take this Japanese anime and Americanize it, which I don't like, and I will never get behind that. If they had just dubbed it properly, like, most animes do without erasing the Japanese culture, then I think it would have been okay. Seeing Beauty and Happy in the ballroom dance scene made my heart swell. It was so good, and I feel like Glitter Force robbed me a little bit. So I do have to say, sorry Glitter Force, but Precure is always going to be better. I have to say it. Even though I don't think it's bad. I think it's a good way to introduce people into Precure. It's not Precure. Okay, so now let's talk about seasons. So for seasons, obviously, I'm just gonna talk about the official seasons that I actually watched. So I'm not gonna talk about the Glitter Force seasons because I didn't watch Doki Doki as Precure. I watched it as Glitter Force. So the first actual season that I watched under Precure labels was Smile Precure, followed by Hugto. And the reason that I picked Hugto is, I'm not gonna lie, I picked the season because I did a little bit of research. I watched a couple videos where people were like, it's a metaverse series. You can literally like watch any single series. They don't really connect unless you watch like the movies and All-Stars and stuff. And so I literally judged a book by its cover, picked a season that I thought was really interesting looking, and I chose Hugto. I don't know, there's something about Hana, and she's still my favorite cure, so maybe my intuition was right. But I picked Hugto, and I loved Hugto. Through and through, was an absolutely amazing experience. Like, this was a really good season, and I am so happy that I picked Hugto as my first, because that's what got me into really wanting to watch Precure, is Hugto. Hugto was amazing. The fight scenes, Hana did not hold back. Like, winding that fist up and slamming it into those enemies. She did not care. She was amazing. She was always cheering for other people. That's what I wanted in a magical girl series. So I'm really happy that Hugto was like my first like knowing that this is Precure series that I watched. Next one, the third one, was Star Twinkle. Star Twinkle was another one that I watched because I was like, this one looks really interesting, and if you know anything about me, this is my VTuber model. Can you see the Maho Girls and Star Twinkle references? Can you see what I kind of like? So yeah, I watched Star Twinkle and again, fell deeply in love with Star Twinkle. Star Twinkle still to this day is one of my favorites. It has one of the best openings, best endings. Like, it is so good. The characters are good. The pins with the Zodiacs was amazing. And then I moved on to the last full season that I've watched. I have watched bits and pieces of like A la Mode and of, yes, the one I just mentioned, which is, I can't remember the name because there's so many, oh my god, Maho Girls. I haven't finished Maho Girls. I'm still working on her. I'm not completely done with her, so I can't add her to the finish list yet. The last one that I have fully completely watched is Heartcatch. Heartcatch is one that I did not really think about wanting to watch. Like, I was looking at the seasons and I was like, this one, the art just looks too different from the shiny and like bright glossy stuff that I had been watching, which is a little bit newer. But I threw up a viewer poll and I was like, hey, you guys tell me, which season should I watch? And literally everybody voted for Heartcatch, and I was kind of disappointed that everybody voted for Heartcatch because I was like, damn, I don't really care for this one by looks. But I guess I'll start it. Best decision. You guys have 10 out of 10 taste. I have never cried more for a character than I have for Moonlight. And like, usually Precure is one of those series that like I do cry a little bit, because I'm not gonna lie, the emotional like values of friendship and like supporting each other, sometimes it gets to me because I'm a little bitch. But Moonlight wrecked me. Her whole story is just so completely sad, especially the final episodes where you realize what happened to her father. Like, it's insane. But also, I will say, Heartcatch is one of those seasons that I really feel like out of every Precure that I've ever seen, interacted with in like, you know, videos or whatnot, Cure Blossom is the one that if I had to put myself as a Precure, I would say I would be her. Maybe not as much now, because I'm a little bit more outspoken with having to force myself to be outspoken with the camera. But I was very shy as a kid. It was really hard for me to, you know, make friends. And I'm not gonna lie, I really wanted to be a fashion designer when I was younger. And if you watched old Glitter M content, which is not here anymore because I sucked at it, I used to sew a lot. And I really wanted to, you know, do fashion. I think Sabomi really kind of was a character that I felt like I was watching myself with. And I feel like you can have that experience with Precure. Everyone's gonna have that experience at some point, because there's so many characters who are so vastly different that I genuinely feel like there is a character that will represent you in this series. And we now move on to the currently airing season, which is Kimito Idol or UN Idol Precure. And I have covered some seasons. Like I covered a little bit of Tropical Rouge, I covered a little bit of Soaring Sky, and also Delicious, and a little bit Healing Good, but I didn't watch a lot of the episodes. Some of them I watched a couple and then dropped it, and I'm not even gonna lie, I really don't know why. A lot of it was probably that at the time I wasn't like a content creator, you know. I was just like a little weeb in my room during like COVID years, being like, hey, Healing Good, these characters look cool, yay. So part of me was just like, I'm gonna like take a look at the characters because I like this series, but if I'm not like super interested, then I'm probably not gonna keep up with it. And I really hate that I did that, because I wish that I would have kept up with series, especially with Soaring Sky. I really wish that I would have kept up with that one. Like, I followed it not super closely, but I did follow it, and there was a couple episodes where I just kind of skipped around. If something big happened, like Your Majesty's debut, I skipped to that. You know, the Dark Cure Sky, I skipped to that, and I really wish that I didn't do that. If I could go back, I would do that, and I would rewatch it all again. But Wonderful just happened to be the series where I just kind of had to stop. I had to put a stop on the Precure content because I was burning myself out. I would try to do, you know, a video about something else, and it would do as good as like if I did a Precure video. And so I just needed to stop with Precure for my own mental health as a content creator, because when you put so much work and time and effort into a video and it gets nothing, but then you make a sloppy video just like yapping about Precure and it gets like thousands of views, it kind of hurts your mentality as a creator. And so if you've ever wondered why did I stop talking about Precure for like roughly about a year, that's why. But I did come back hard this year because UN Idol Precure, if you have heard me talk on my channel, Idol series was always something that I wanted to see in Precure. Now we have idols, we have Cure Sword, for example, an idol, but I wanted a series just focusing around the idols, and I am so happy that we finally got that. So you'll see me talk a little bit in the future on my main channel probably about UN Idol Precure. And I also think I found a really good rhythm of keeping up with Precure, where if you didn't know, on my main channel I do weekly stream recaps on Mondays, where I talk about the episode as my VTuber. We talk about the episode for roughly about 30 minutes and then we'll yap. If you want to ask me questions, you want to talk to me about animes or manga series or whatever, that's the place to do it. So that is my Precure timeline. That is the series that I have watched. I've watched a couple that are just kind of like few episodes like kind of dotted in, but I haven't watched the full series. But let me know if you guys would like to see Precure vlogs on this channel. This is something that I thought about doing for the main channel, but then I changed my content style. So if you would like to see like vlogs of me actually watching the series and talking to you through the vlog about how I'm feeling, let me know, because that was something I pitched and a lot of people really liked that idea. But again, then I changed my content style. And if you are a regular viewer over on GlitterM and over here, because I talk about Precure in this certain video, I don't talk just about Precure, I talk about all kinds of anime, but Precure is one that is very near and dear to my heart, so we are gonna have some Precure videos kind of littered in here. And as always, if you have any ideas that you would like me to cover, whether it's an anime, a series, or even a cartoon or whatnot, let me know down below in the comments. Please remember to like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!